of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Peyton. Just gonna solidify everything from Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKT, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Laura's gonna be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Annabelle immediately goes back to fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome on back to some more CGL action. It may be 10 p.m. here on the East Coast, but the mid-season madness awaits for nobody. I am Megalas, and I am here with Shadowfang, here to cover one of the first round matches here in the Diamond tier. We've got Solar-Eclipse going up against Phantom. Shadow, how are we looking tonight?
Oh, I mean, we're looking pretty good. Another diamond match to show everybody, really get this tier underway and going. It's going to be the second to last match in this round 1 of the diamond tier, and an important one at that. It's the 4-5 matchup between Solar-Eclipse and Phantom, so it should be a pretty tightly contested game, I'm thinking.
Is this the 4-5 matchup? I thought this was a 1-8. Am I?
No. The 1-8 is Lunar Eclipse due to there are 4 teams that are undefeated in this tier, and Lunar Eclipse has the best map record. I believe Solar Eclipse has
You're
lost.
right. You're right. You're absolutely right. No, Solar Eclipse has lost a single map. The other 3 teams have not dropped a map.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
I
knew it was something like that.
But Solar Eclipse, I mean, listen, we expected them to not drop a map. This is your reigning champion, of course, here in the Diamond tier under a new moniker, if you will. But being that in that 4-5 spot, like you were saying, these are the games where upsets are a lot more possible. They're a lot more on the table than you would expect. Obviously, looking at these teams, sure, you could be like, oh, Phantoms has lost a game. They've looked mortal, but overall, it's still an incredibly strong team.
Well, and I mean, Abyssal had not lost a game either, and they lost to Cuddle Puddle in a 3-0 fashion, as you can see on our bracket right here. So upsets are very much possible. I mean, as much as all of us would, I think it would be very fun to see Solar and Lunar Eclipse play each other. But, we still have to play out the match, see what's actually going to happen here. But this is going to be a very fun bracket, I think, once we get into the later rounds for sure.
Yeah, I think these teams really are going to be pushing themselves and really wanting to deliver. So, hey, it just means more action, more fun games for us. So I'm here for it. I think we're going to be taking a look at the team lineups next. So you actually know the players that we are looking at here. Starting with Solar Eclipse, we've got Reverts, Hollander, Cloud Lemon, Vert, and Xerneas. I mean, again, this was the Queen's Gambit roster. They simply ran around, ruled the Diamond tier last season, and now looking to just run it back.
Yeah, very strong team, same as before. Hollander, if I remember right, very strong on that Pharah, and Pharah is an incredibly good pick right now with the new perks, so just be on the lookout for something like that to potentially be coming.
Exactly But speaking of things you want to watch out for on the other side of things, you don't ever want to underestimate the opponent. You got the Phantoms here, Salt, Azure on that DPS line, Pack Attack on Tank, and then Mystic and Soda. A little bit less known about this team, but overall, like we said, 3-1 record right now. If I had their team stats pulled up. I wanted to see who that loss may have been to, but it doesn't matter. It's the mid-season now. You got a single life. You're here. You're going to play it out and have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a good measuring stick for you as well. If you're a team like Phantoms, where maybe you haven't played, well, more than likely you haven't played any of these top teams just yet. So it's good to see where you stack up against them, especially a team like Solar-Eclipse that I would say still should be the favorites just due to the fact that they won the tier last season.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, they definitely are going to be the favorites. So it should be an uphill battle, but at the end of the day, the only thing that can prove it is going to be this matchup here. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the next most important thing, the bans. What heroes are not going to be seen? We've seen a lot of Malga meta has sort of resurfaced itself, Shadow. It's almost like when you give a character like Malga passive healing on a payload and just for having 2 hearts, it might be a bit of a problem.
Yeah, I mean, Malga's really good at just, as you said, kind of existing, and now you're giving him more stats to exist with. Just that little bit of extra passive healing stacked on top of the cardiac overdrive, and so on and so forth. You can stack all of these different abilities into this Malga. I doubt we're going to see that banned out here. I would expect. Oh, okay, Reinhardt ban. I can't say I expected that in any way, shape, or form, so I'm incredibly surprised by that. Uh, I don't have anything to say about it, quite frankly. I'm just shocked that that pick came out.
I mean, it's possible it could be a target ban, right? These lower tiers, they don't necessarily have to adhere to the meta super hard. Maybe Phantoms do have a killer killer Reinhardt comp that they want to deal with and get out of the way. I almost said Wrecking Ball purely for the fact of our insider info, our team sheets that tell us about the team. Both their tanks love the dive. So we'll have to see maybe where Phantoms wants to go with this one in terms of their ban. As the timer's up, the dramatic pause. Oh my goodness. They're banning the Pharah right away.
I like this because, get the Pharah pick out of the way on a map that's really good for Pharah. And that's going to, map number 1, I think, is the best place to get rid of this pick. Just try and get yourself some good momentum early on as Phantoms. And there's honestly no better spot to do it than on Lijiang Tower. I mean, it's a very tough map to deal with Pharah on, honestly.
Yeah, it's definitely an incredibly difficult map. And hey, listen, like you said, banning it right away already going to be forcing potentially some adaptations from the side of, I almost called it Queen's Gambit again. I'm so used to it. Solar-Eclipse, and just doing any and everything to sort of make this one work. But like you said, going to Lijiang, besides the Pharah pick, what other niche picks do you think could come out here?
I mean, there's always a potential for the Symmetra to come out. People love doing the Symmetra TP. Maybe that's why the Rhine ban came out. Like you said, maybe Phantoms likes to do the Symmetra May Reinhardt nonsense. So that could be a reason we saw that. But now I think the teams are probably going to lean more towards that Ramatra setup. And we might see the back and forth. I kind of think that's where the Malga meta came from. People got tired of playing Ramatra into each other, and Malga can just kind of melt through Ramatra. So we might start seeing that back and forth potentially, or both teams might just walk out on Malga and just skip the whole back and forth of the tank swap.
That's fair. I mean, listen, you don't want to be swapping around too much, especially with the perks that we have nowadays, right? You actually want to be able to build those up over time. Even though there's built-in systems to try to help you build them, if you do have to switch, you'd much rather just stay on a composition you're more comfortable with and can sort of pilot as you see fit. But yeah, I mean, overall, it is just sort of this exciting matchup here. Because again, this will be a good test for Phantoms, see if they have the ability to punch up. As apparently the whispers in our ear are saying that Phantoms are having to change things up, potentially putting in different members of the lineup here. Yeah, Salt and Rhapsody both going to come in. So you have 2 Genji players now. I'm sure that won't go poorly.
If only there were 2 Genjis. Maybe it's just a thing where there's a particular specialized hero that they want one of the 2 to play, and they both just really enjoy playing Genji. Like maybe they're gonna run some sort of Tracer Echo dive or something. I have a hard time believing that, just with this being a Lijiang Tower. I feel like this lends itself more to a, we've seen a lot of this Sojourn Tracer, so that does not surprise me on the side of Phantoms. And I think the Orisa is still going to struggle a little bit into the Malga. The ability to, you just don't really have the ability to burn through the Malga fast enough for you to survive all of his cooldowns as Orisa.
I mean, that being said, if it truly is just a head-to-head matchup, Orisa does have some pretty good survivability,
Yeah.
especially if you can get some of those fortified buff perks installed, but we'll have to see if there's time for that. It's going to be the difference of having the Juno Brig versus the Kiri Lucio as well here. Two different kinds of speed to move these teams around the objective here. Solar-Eclipse is going to start out with a bit of forward positioning. They are technically on the objective, but it's more just Amalga playing around this pillar right now, trying to see what can be achieved. Hollander realizing it's probably better to just go back and deal with the rest of this squad here. And it's just going to be Reverts with 2 off of the Disruptor shot. You can't stand in that one. It wasn't stuck to anybody yet, I promise. Orisa just going to go ahead and find some water to drink from, and that'll be Solar-Eclipse getting the first cap.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was just a really nice flank there from Hollander, getting that little extra poke damage in. Like you said, Reverts throwing that little damage in on the side as well. They just slowly got poked out, did the supports of Phantoms. And that's just kind of what I was talking about a second ago. It's just hard to outlast all the damage that's coming in from Solar-Eclipse with what you're going to have here as Phantoms.
Yeah, and so it's going to be incredibly difficult to weather the storm, so maybe have to be a little bit more proactive, seeking action now that Spear Spin comes through, and Rhapsody finds some action in the name of the pick onto Hollander. Now with Reverse missing the fight, there's no DPS in play. It is just Amalga with a cardiac overdrive, is able to get the one on the Ana, so we're 3v3 on the point here. The Orisa has been stomped on, however, so having to be a little bit more careful now, realizing this break is isolated. Hurt caught out on the wrong side of things, but the Juno Care is there, and now the Malga simply chasing the fortified Orisa around, finds one on the Mystic out of nowhere, and despite how that fight started well for Phantom, Solar-Eclipse again just weathered the storm.
And I mean, I had to shout out the backline of Solar-Eclipse right there. Vert and Xerneas being very difficult to kill. And that's kind of what you have to do. If you can just outlast as the supports longer than the supports of Phantoms can, which has been the case so far, you're going to have a difficult time dealing with this entire team of Solar-Eclipse.
Incredibly difficult. Now we're gearing up for the next fight. Ultimate starting to come online. Solar-Eclipse might be able to beat them to the punch here. You're looking at Hollander potentially try to set up a blade, but it'll actually be Pack onto point first here, trying to make the first move. Now that blade will be pulled. Comes up with one, looking for a second, gets it. That anti does not result in a kill just yet. Now just dashing to safety as the rest of the team is there for a little bit of backup. The Orisa's using Terra Surge in a last desperate attempt. You end up getting Hollander, but with 92% already, I think Solar-Eclipse has already left their mark on this round.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really going to be a chance to get a touch here if you're Phantoms, and I mean, that's a tough round. That's a tough round for Phantoms. I believe that Terra Surge was the only ultimate that went off for the side of Phantoms, and I mean, just looking at it right there, your supports were both still 75% to their ultimate. I think you've got to whip out the Brigida right now. Like there's too much just dive damage going into this backline right now. You need to probably mirror this Juno Brig. Honestly, you might just need to mirror this entire comp and just call it a day, because your supports just are not survivable enough. You have two supports that are just incredibly diveable, and this Genji of Hollander is doing a great job of just getting in their face constantly.
Yeah, and so maybe we'll have to see if those switch-ups come through. Currently, the only major swaps we're seeing is over to the Juno. We did start on that Lucio Kiri, now actually back over to the Lucio. Preferring this with the Ana could be interesting here as the teleport from point comes through. It's actually going to be Phantoms who has now established themselves here. This is going to be favorable positioning, even with the Malga jumping into the backline here. Hasn't resulted in a kill just yet, but there's so many health bars so incredibly low. And finally, the follow-up is going to be there. 2 picks already gone that way. Make it a third onto Mystic. And it's going to be an Orisa running off the map, leaving the poor Ana all alone. And again, Solar-Eclipse get a first cap.
I mean, the side of Phantoms just keeps splitting so hard, and Cloud Lemon is doing such a great job of just drawing so much attention from Phantoms that they're not really looking at the people that they need to be looking at. You're not going to kill Cloud Lemon, right? That's just probably not going to happen when he has all these cooldowns. So you need to go after one of these squishier targets. Hollander taking down Azure is not going to help with that, though.
There's going to be more time spent waiting, looking for an opportunity, as now Phantom pivoted over to a full 5. Comes on Genji, doing a little bit of feeding, but does get one on to Mystic here, so it's still, again, traded out in favor of Solar Eclipse right now. Attack is going to try to walk forward, but look at this, the Winston just cannot live in the face of Malga's miniguns, and this is going to beat the slam in as well. Attack not long for this world after the fact there. Echo's going to desperately try to contest point, but this is going to have to be another reset for the Phantoms.
And I mean, again, yeah, they just keep losing a player and just continuing to go in down one. Right here, this is probably where you gotta say go right there. Getting that kill onto reverts is absolutely massive.
It's absolutely massive. They had to make sure that Attack was back in. Now they're actually diving the backline here, and Rhapsody comes up with 2 more. Both supports removed from the fight. It is going to cost Rhapsody their life, but this should finally be a good fight win coming up for Phantoms here. And yeah, that'll also get them the point flip, but this fight might not be done just yet. Cloud Lemon poking from a distance somehow gets that kill onto Salt. That can't happen from this range with the Malga. So now just waiting for the supports to re-engage because they know they can just run in with this cage whenever they want to. Hollander having to be a little bit careful here. Realize the Echo is pressuring them, but now that cage fight comes through and nobody has died to it just yet. And there are now ultimately trying to be ripped, trying to save this here. Hollander so incredibly low, but these lifesteal slashes are keeping them alive, and they're doing the work of so much damage. Crazy clip there for Hollander, as now Solar Eclipse just need one final fight to get the map.
I mean, there's a prime example of where those perks can just come in so handy. And you only burnt the cage and the blade, and Phantoms burnt everything. So that's it. I mean, I don't know if anybody's even gonna be able to touch the Rhapsody anymore.
Sombra touches, but already missing 2 members. Things have gone from bad to worse for the Phantoms, and yeah, nobody else can even make it in time here. So that will be Solar Eclipse taking it, dominating map number 1. And again, this Malga meta, it's meta for a reason. You see how powerful they look on this console.
No, absolutely. They know exactly what they want to do. Their timing on their ultimates is great. And again, just watch how much health this blade just immediately brings back. What an insane perk that is for Genji. But you love to see it though. You love the teamwork and just the timing and the ult usage. Again, as long as that last fight just went, Solar Eclipse only used 2 ults for the entire time. A cage and a blade, that's it. The side of Phantoms used 4 ultimates. So like that's just a difference in knowing exactly what you want to do and when you want to do it, just timing, and that's really going to be key in these tournament matches.
Yeah, and you know, I kind of want to highlight, like you said, that difference in what you want to do. You saw Phantom started on this sort of brawl-esque comp, but they were playing it more of a poke style with the Orisa, and then they pivot over to a full dive. And while they may be more comfortable on a dive, I mean, Pack Attack, there was necessarily nothing they were doing wrong. Just Winston into Malga is a recipe for disaster. It's absolutely brutal. I think if you want to play the dive because you saw how good that your Echo was playing, potentially maybe lean towards something like a Diva pick. Use some of that defense matrix to try to help your team get in and out. Because really, it was just the Malga a lot of the time, just being able to hold space. Lemon really was just uncontested, constantly firing in those guns and making sure the damage could be done even at range.
No, absolutely. We were seeing some picks go off from range as well. And like you even said in the moment, that is not a thing that can happen. So honestly, I think your best bet is to just take the mirror. I mean, there's not really a ton to playing Malga. You know, you just kind of look at each other and shoot and press your buttons. That's almost the whole thing.
That's all of it, yeah. But to be fair, you know, as much as people like to simplify it to that, I do have to give my props to Cloud Lemon, right? Especially when they pivoted over to that dive. The charge was used to make sure that Winston fell under pressure time and again, almost using it as a counter dive tool to make sure that you were constantly on the enemy tank. There was never a time that your backline was under fire, and it just allowed these heals to go off. I mean, I think of that first point on Legion, right? There was a point where both DPS on the side of Solar Eclipse go down, but the support line just stays alive through absolutely everything. And it's just an amazing feeling to have when you know you have a tank making that space so your supports can do just that.
No, absolutely. Cloud Lemon's doing a fantastic job of just being very deliberate with the Malga charges, not just kind of running around. But no, there is a purpose to it every single time. The cardiac overdrives are always used very intelligently as well, help keeping their team up. Like, yeah, no, it's been some very good plays so far.
Very good play. We'll just have to wait and see a bit more here because, teams, they have a lot to decide now. You got to figure out what map you're going to. It's not the
Mm-hmm.
CGL regular season format. You actually get to pick your maps. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think they're picking mode. They might pick mode. I do not know. But I'm gonna pretend that they do not pick they don't pick mode because they just picked a hybrid map, as the lovely, lovely voice in the sky has told us, and we're going somewhere that dive might be a bit more favorable. Shadow.
I mean, this makes sense to me from what we were just seeing on that last map. There was an immediate change in just tempo from Phantoms when they did run that dive comp. It took them a minute to set up, but I think on a map like Blizzard World, there's going to be a lot more space for them to set up, and Solar-Eclipse may even take the mirror with them on the dive comp, which is what you would really ideally want if you were Phantoms.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the idea of this dive here. But to be fair, I'm sure reverts will more than happily play Genji in a dive mirror, as well as that Sojourn is still getting picked. So there are still some threats that have to be answered. You don't just get to force a dive. The question is, do they think that the Blizzard World geometry is going to be enough that they don't have to ban Malga? Or do you think a Malga ban still has to come through for Phantoms?
I think there's enough high grounds on this map. On it, third point can be tough, but I think first and second point you are able to force enough space that you can potentially dodge the Malga. The question is, if you're Phantoms, do you want to prevent your Echo from getting banned? Because if you're Solar Eclipse, you can potentially ban that Echo out, because we did see a couple of kills come out very quickly on that Echo. So if I'm Solar Eclipse, at least I can't think of what else I might ban. So that's a tough one. That's a tough one. But maybe the Malga would be a good ban here, just to make sure you don't have to play against it.
Yeah, but simply we have our lovely, lovely countdown before it will pop up and reveal to us. And survey says, is it a Malga? And it's a Diva band coming from the side of Phantoms. So so this says to me that they're going to rely on the natural map geometry to negate the Malga, and that they're simply banning one of the dive options that maybe they don't like to lean into. Like I said, both their tanks, I've highlighted both Winston and Wrecking Ball as their favorite tanks here for us. So, I see the vision with this dive, but now where does Solar Eclipse go with this ban?
And that is the question. I really think you just need to disable something that they would want to dive with. And the only thing I can really think of is Echo. I don't know if that's going to be the pick. Kiriko. Okay, that makes sense to me too. We saw that Phantoms likes to run the Kiriko Lucio, so just go on ahead and get rid of the Kiriko. Now you're going to force them onto potentially a more Ana Brig centric dive, and we did not see any Brig from Phantoms in the last map, so that totally makes sense to me from Solar Eclipse.
If you don't have a cleansing Suzu, I kind of worry that maybe the burns from Malga are going to be a little bit more permanent. Like you said, it also does just sort of hit Phantoms where they potentially could be weak at, right? They like to play that Kiriko a lot more than they like those other support picks. So potentially forcing them onto something uncomfortable like the Break Juno, even if it's a good composition, just matter of comfort on the heroes, especially when you're thinking of this elo. Comfort on a hero is the difference between life and death in some of these series, because everybody will try to be flexible and say that they can play certain things, but overall people have to realize their limits, realize, hey, listen, I really can't do it on this hero, but it's just sort of a matter of, will they actually be able to step up to the plate?
No, exactly like you're saying. So really smart band picks from both sides. I do have to say though, I like the intelligence I'm seeing with these picks, the thoughtfulness. Because if Phantoms are trying to run like that Winston dive like we just saw, there's nothing more annoying to try and jump into than a Diva. And look at all the substitutions that we have out here. Oh my goodness. Solar Eclipse has Anjoki coming in on tank, Synarchy coming in on support, and Locos coming in on support as well. And then the Phantoms, we've got Salt swapping over to DPS and Soda coming in on that support line. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, because Salt was in on support last map, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they were playing the Ana
so
primarily.
Potentially, this could be them adding a little bit of flexibility to their backline. Currently are hovering the map set. Looks that could be interesting. The Solar-Eclipse, like you noted as well, a full team comp switch. Maybe these are their dive characters.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like to me. It's looking like an Ana Mercy, so we're looking at like an Ash Pocket for reverts, and then a Winston Tracer dive as well with the Ana. I really like this comp from Solar-Eclipse. If you're Phantoms, it's asking a lot if Salt is actually going to stick this Widowmaker to consistently beat an Ashe and a Tracer. You're asking a lot of your Widowmaker to hit those two shots repeatedly on those characters.
You're asking for a lot. Granted, how long will this Widowmaker actually exist? Only time will tell here. Salt doesn't seem to actually want to stick on it. It is making its way up the stairs, at least for the time being. Now, the Solar-Eclipse also have opted into an interesting look here for their defense, where they haven't Mercy, so no real speed boost or agency. But then again, nobody that really needs it necessarily. So we're just going to have a bit of a poke war until Solar-Eclipse, they see what they want to go with. And that'll be the first one. Breverts finds one onto Salt. A beautiful pick here with the help of that damage. There's now another shot onto Azure. So incredibly low. Now it's just the team running as well. They have to wonder if they need to hide or get out. And they're not going to be given the option to hide for too much longer. And Joki is going to jump in, at least force that immortality field, but has to back out for the time being here. Meanwhile, that Widowmaker probably going to be reversing the fight very, very soon. But instead, it's actually Hollander who comes up with the first pick onto this pick here. The Solar-Eclipse defense holding strong.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Nice pick there by Hollander. And this is the thing you're going to run into as the Widowmaker is you have to hit that headshot on that Tracer over and over again, or that's going to keep happening to you. And that's a really tough ask. That's a tough ask in open tier, let alone in diamond. So that's really, really difficult. And if you're Phantoms too, trying to cross this open space before you get picked off by either Reverts or Hollander, or have Anjoki in your face on this Winston, again, I don't know how you're going to make it across without losing somebody.
Really is going to be a mystery here, but one that has to be solved by the Phantoms here. This is their gameplay. They now have to score or point can actually blow up Anjoki immediately here. Now that pulse bomb comes through, thankfully there's an immortality field, but everybody's so incredibly low. Has to wait for that anti to wear off for some healing to finally start coming through. But now, with that tank missing, I'm noticing a bit of a lack of urgency. The Phantoms seem to just still be waiting for something here. Hack Attack finally making their way over to the point, trying to see if they can land something. But Reverts is killed two with the bomb, and is still free fire for the high ground, making a third, a fourth with a flick. Are you kidding me? Reverts, they have a family.
Oh, that was such a good play from Reverts, but I mean, it's exactly what you were saying with Phantoms as well. I'm not sure why, as soon as Anjoki blew up, that the Phantoms didn't just rotate onto point. To me, that's what you probably should have done right there. Just force point, and then you can, like, you can force Reverts to reposition on that Ashe. You're going to have a better chance of taking them down at some point.
I mean, force high ground, force point, force something. Instead, now it's just a good bit of flux. Force ultimately not netting any kills there. Discord and Monkey is down coming in a nano boost. Incredibly good kill from Synarchy though here, so we are tied 4v4. Again, the Winston is missing from the fight, didn't end up getting that primal ratio. And on a raw peeking a Widowmaker, that is gumption of a level I have not seen in a while here. Now another anti-nade applied onto two members here, and it's going to be followed up on, so the transcendence wasted from the side of Phantoms, because now it's the Sigma and a Zenyatta trying to find the nearest cliff to take a drink, and Solar-Eclipse are still holding this.
Oh, I mean, Phantoms is just having a difficult time finding an in anywhere here. This pocket on Reverts is crazy, and then Salt constantly having to turn around and look for Hollander on this Tracer. And don't look now, but Hollander has this pulse bomb ready. And from what I've seen from them so far, I wouldn't be surprised if they stuck it onto the Zenyatta.
Yeah, I mean, it's sticking anywhere will be a death sentence at this point. Only 9 seconds left. Phantom has to make their way over to the objective. But it is Mystic now missing another bomb thrown in here. The objective pressure is there for the remaining 4 members. Make that 3 though, as Salt has a solid attack. Does manage to get one onto the Winston here. Immortality Field will keep the Baptiste alive for the time being, but Bob has now made it so it's just 2 members here trying to do what they can. Granted, it's a Sig. Oh, but the Resurrect was the pulse bomb onto the Baptiste. Sure, they get 2 ticks for their trouble, but ultimately Phantoms is going to be held on the first point.
Well, and I mean, good job there from Phantoms to get 2.5 ticks there, because for the longest time it did not look like they were ever going to like make it to the point. So that is a good job by them, but the ult economy just did not favor them in that last fight, and Solar-Eclipse just really used that to their advantage. Like I said, that pulse bomb came out, grabbing the Baptiste. Reverts just, for the most part, mostly uncontested, quite honestly. They're just kind of sitting there shooting shots onto that back line and getting those and hitting those headshots, hitting the dynamites. That's tough to deal with if you're the Phantoms.
I mean, tough to deal with is it's a kind way to put it for sure there. Phantoms, like, some of their issues are truly on themselves here, right? You're seeing this just super lack of any sort of willingness to move forward. There were several times, I mean, I'm not going to say Anjoki was beat or anything like that, but I don't think they got a primal rage till overtime started ticking over. They just kind of continued to fall over off cooldown, and Phantoms never really did anything with it. They still just lived in fear of reverts on the Ashe, ripping them apart, so they just chose not to move. Now on the defense, maybe the poke comp fares a little bit better, but they're going to have to make sure that they can contest this objective because they don't have that much room to hold.
And now you have to deal with, I was going to say you have to deal with Hollander's Pharah as well, but it looks like they are going to swap back over to that Tracer. So, same compositions. We are seeing the Zenyatta swap over to an Uyari from Mystic, so maybe a little bit more extra poke damage can come in from that, potentially. We will have to see that.
As of now, we are just simply waiting to see how this is going to go. Hollander decides to start putting some early pressure onto the point, and Reverts has already found one onto Azure. You can't make this up, Reverts! Somebody check the final blow stats. He might have every single one. Absolutely ridiculous. Looking for more now. Has some burning on the Sigma here. And Hollander's going to be able to chime in with a pick onto the Widowmaker, following it up on the Soda. The Sig, the last person standing. And it seems as though Phantoms just had their defense crumble before their eyes in a single fight, as now this should be the side of Solar-Eclipse moving up 2-0 in the series. As Reverts gets 2 more for their name. The stat pad is real.
Yeah, I mean, what a dominant map from the side of Reverts and Hollander in particular. The entire side of Solar-Eclipse, of course, played very well, but I swear almost every final blow was between Reverts and Hollander on that map. That was an insane performance from those two DPS.
Insane is one word for it. Like, look at this, just a 5k. Of course, obviously helps to have the Mercy, but I'm not gonna say it's disrespect to have a Mercy as well, but like that's just the cherry on top, right? The fact that you got away with playing Mercy when the hero is just not the best at all times, it just shows how great Solar-Eclipse's DPS line was playing, and the rest of the team obviously had to contribute as well. And Phantoms, you wanted to play it. You took them to a dive map when you seemed like you favored dive, and then decided to just play the poke the whole time. So I'm not sure if Phantoms are really cooking up anything in the kitchen, but maybe they just need time to cool off and truly think things up. So we're gonna go ahead and give that to them, with throwing us to a quick break. On the other side of it, though, we have the conclusion of this match, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.
All right, welcome on back. Hopefully you got yourself a little snack, maybe a drink, potentially some warm milk, as it is later on in the evening here. But we are here with this NA Diamond match, already 2-0 up for Solar-Eclipse in Shadow. In case people who have been living under a rock don't know what happened, how's it been going so far?
I mean, honestly, it's been a pretty dominant performance from Solar-Eclipse. Phantoms tried to bring them over. Well, I shouldn't say they tried to. They did bring them over to Blizzard World last map. We thought it was going to be in an attempt to force a dive. They did actually force Solar-Eclipse into a dive, did Phantoms. But Phantoms themselves decided to play a poke comp. Didn't quite work out in their favor. So here we are on map number 3. Elimination point, if you will, for Phantoms. So they really need to come out with their best effort on this map.
Yeah, they're going to have to do their absolute best here because, like you said, mid-season, that elimination is looming. Oh, it's only one life here. In Solar-Eclipse, they're just kind of cruising right now, so we will have to see what we're heading into for the next map. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it should be Push. It is Push. Wow, look at me. I remember things. Listen, there was a time you had Clash involved and people were combining modes. It was scary. But it's fine. We're back to wholesome push moments, and we're gonna be on New Queen Street.
Yep, we're going to New Queen Street, push map. And speaking of which, that means we have to go for bans now. And, you know, I really think this is the time, if you're Phantoms, you go ahead and you ban out that Malga. This is when you do it. This is a flat map. There's not really much verticality to it. So more than likely Solar-Eclipse is going to swap back to playing that Malga comp. So just go on ahead and get rid of it now. This is as good a time as any. I mean, it's elimination points, so you should probably get rid of it now.
Yeah, but we'll have to see if that's the choice they make here. Because again, on these hero bans, they truly can go any which way. Phantoms are banning Ana. So they're tired of being antied. Okay. That means you can't anti Amalga, but sure. Well, as the old lineage says, let them cook, but at this point the kitchen might be burning.
Might be a bit of a grease fire. Oh my goodness. Okay, so with that being the case, I'm not too sure who Solar-Eclipse goes for in this ban now, because I was thinking Solar-Eclipse was going to go for one of the supports when they went for their ban. So, okay, we're seeing the Wrecking Ball ban come out. I mean, you mentioned it a little bit earlier. We saw that a lot of these tanks for Phantoms like to play that Wrecking Ball. So, I mean, hey, fair enough. That pick makes sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the things where ball can be a problem on New Queen Street specifically, so I can see maybe why they want to go ahead and ban it. Because even against Malga comps, the Wrecking Ball can definitely find value these days.
Yeah.
But it depends also if we're actually going to see these Malga comps that we keep talking about, right? It was just sort of something on Lee Chang. But the Solar-Eclipse roster, they've proven that they are flexible. It also depends on potentially who they have in the lineup. They've shown that they do necessarily maybe need to switch people in and out, but they can really play a lot of different comps.
That is a really good point. So, if there are going to be some subs coming in for Solar-Eclipse that might lean more towards that Malga comp, or it could lead just towards a Brawl comp in general. But with that being said, we are seeing Cloud, Lemon, Xerneas, and Vert come back in. So we're just seeing those swaps that happened between map 1 and 2 now come back to what they were on map 1. So again, I would expect to see honestly the Tracer Sojourn with that Malga composition that we previously saw, but there is potential for like a Ramatra or something to come out as well.
Potential. I'd like to give a big shout out to the Pigeon. Did not know there was a Pigeon on this map. I'm willing to bet that means that Orange is observing. That's generally the rule of thumb. In case you watch a bunch of Overwatch, if you get a Pigeon cam, that means Orange is your observer. So there's a fun behind the scenes secret for you. But you know, it's one of those things where we're just simply waiting. And you were talking about the Doomfist before, and whether it's real or not, it is being covered by Cloud Lemon.
Yeah, you know, I was predicting a bit of a troll pick with the Doomfist coming out. And I mean, if this comp legitimately comes out the door right now from Solar-Eclipse, they're just trying to flex on people right now. No, actually, I like this. I like this a lot. I like Zarya so much right now. So I love it anytime I get to see Zarya come out. I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult into the Ramatra just with all that damage mitigation, especially going into a May as well. That's going to be difficult. So you really need to get that first perk where you have the ability to jump over the wall.
Yeah, and so we'll have to see how that goes. But already the trades are coming through hot, fast, and furious. It's a 3v3, the teleport in to try to get some healing. But Hollander's down. Soda's still cleaning up on this Baptiste. And so after a chaotic and quick fight, Phantoms are actually in control.
Let's move.
And they're asking for apologies right now. So let's see potentially what that's all about.
Well, I did notice Vert got picked off pretty quickly there, so I almost wonder if Vert was having some connectivity issues during the beginning of that last fight. That could potentially explain a lot too, because not having your Lucio able to escort you around and use those speed boosts when you want them to it's kind of key when you're running a rush comp like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's even more than key, right? Just having missing a member of your team can be something here. Potentially, no, it was just a minor issue. People just thought, maybe it was just simply Solar-Eclipse, they lost a single fight and they're like, hold on, this wasn't part of the plan. What's going on here? But 14 meters is all Phantoms will gain for the time being. Now going to have to take the brawl once again here. Cloud Lemon back on the Zarya here. Depending on how these bubbles get used, but oh my goodness, just you blink and you miss it. 2 picks have already come through, and Phantoms are being sent running for the hills.
And yeah, here come all the picks coming through for Solar-Eclipse. And it really just feels like Phantoms that is, they split off from each other a lot harder than they did in fight number 1. Fight 1, I feel like went so well for them because they all ran at the same person that your May and your Ramatra were going after. And that's kind of what you're going to have to do with this composition. If you lose sight of grouping together as 5 players and just walking at a target, you're going to have a difficult time with this Solar-Eclipse roster, especially like with this comp. This comp really wants to isolate and carry individuals.
Yeah, and so we'll have to see if that's going to be something they can focus on here. Soda is going to go down with the help of both members of the DPS line, but Salt has found one on Holland here. And again, this May is helping them weather the storm. Now Reaper's trying to be a bit of a hero, and is actually coming up massively, deciding to actually be the hero, and turns the fight as it was supposed to be over. Phantoms, they thought they won, but it's just not possible when Reaper's is on the other side.
Oh, what a great overclock there from Reverts. Just seeing that the fight was winnable. You just have to win 2 individual 1v1s, so let's pop this overclock and get it done. And there's the checkpoint coming through for Solar-Eclipse, and all these ultimates online as well. This is going to be a crazy fight.
Going to be crazy. Vert already missing though, so Phantoms is starting to strike back, but this bot is moving. They just simply were not aware that the bot was still moving the other way. That means Vert is going to get the respawn. Hollander ends up paying for it with their life, but Solar-Eclipse should get a good read.
They absolutely should. Now Solar-Eclipse, they have the grab Pulse Bomb as a potential combo you could throw in here. If you're Phantoms, you probably just want to try and catch somebody with this Blizzard before the sound barrier for Burst comes online.
The dream, but now lots of ultimates being thrown out. Like you said, a Pulse Bomb does not end up going into the grab at all. Very interesting sort of play and decision happening there. Everything's thrown out from the side of Solar-Eclipse, but no kills have been ended just yet. Now Phantom potentially looking to walk forward here, take their turn on the fight. Already fortune one's already bubble, seeing if they can get the second. So incredibly low is this Ramattra. You have to use the sound barrier to keep Pack Attack in the fight, but they still is not enough. My Ramattra just decided that they did not need healing. They wanted to go for the kills, and they made maybe a little bit too far. Now there is some trading happening here, but it is favoring Solar-Eclipse right now. The Immortality Field is going to delay the inevitable as Rebirth cleans it up once again.
Oh, that's a tough fight to lose if you're the side of Phantoms. And I mean, I honestly thought the Annihilation was about to come out from Pack Attack there just to sustain a little bit longer so that they could back up and potentially make it back to their support line. But you do have the Annihilation now, as well as the Deadeye, and Reverts having this overclock online again means that's something else you got to watch out for from Solar-Eclipse.
For it indeed, but it seems like the entirety of Solar-Eclipse is choosing just to back up, play in some more favorable positioning, not wanting to stay too long at that low ground disadvantage. So now you're going to see Phantoms walking forward here. They do have Pack Attack with this Annihilation, but too much distance to cover. Oh my goodness gracious. Just continuing to walk forward here now that Vortex field being placed on. And now the Annihilation is going to come out, trying to pressure down the Kiriko. Does not get to teleport away in time, but that Annihilation is going to wear out. Only comes up with one elimination, but that one elimination may be the one that was needed.
No, you're going to get yourself a little bit of cart push here. If you're Solar-Eclipse, you probably just recontest this right before the actual checkpoint comes into play. And I mean, you really need to do something about Hollander though. You cannot just let Hollander sit back like this.
Be careful now. Camping is going to eliminate Cloud Lemon, absolutely burn them to the ground. Deadeye being held by Salt now to try to help secure these forward spawns. And it's going to be actually an elimination coming the other way. Rebirths killing Azure straight up here, but now Phantoms pushing towards the lead. But that might put a damper on their plans as Mystic catches the Pulse Bomb directly with their teeth. Removed from the fight. Now the Baptiste the next to follow. Finally eliminated by Hollander here. It should be a cleanup, but with only 2 meters separating these teams right now, anything is possible.
I mean, this is pretty ideal, I would say. If you're Phantoms, you get yourself to a really solid position. Like you said, 2 meters of difference. You got 4 minutes on the clock. And currently, we're looking at a Blizzard about to come online for Azure. And then for the side of Solar-Eclipse, they've got the grab and they have the Kitsune Rush available. If you can get the Suzu out, if you're Azure, that Blizzard should be a pretty free ultimate for you.
Yeah, I mean, this Blizzard, it can do a lot here, but like you said, there's a couple you gotta worry about. But they're gonna chuck it in on top of the Kitsune Rush. Is gonna be the teleport out, so nobody actually caught by it except Azure, who is now caught by a rail gun here, so already missing one member. Now having to worry about this Graviton, who comes down onto all the members of Phantoms here, and it will just be the cleanup needed. The Cassidy, the last one standing. Salt just needs to do what a cowboy does best and take one for the team, and Solar-Eclipse are going to now extend their lead.
There is going to be definite progress made here for the side of Solar-Eclipse, and I mean, That was just, you were a little bit too excited about your ultimate there if you were Azure. You needed to be a little bit more patient. You might have been able to get a huge blizzard off there, but now Revert's getting close on this overclock. Once again, Hollander still in the back line on this Tracer, just has not been dealt with this whole match. Nice kill though.
Yeah, has not been dealt with despite the Cassidy being a really good counter, being this pestering nuisance now. Like you said, that pick onto Salt, or onto Reverts rather, from Salt is going to be able to move the bot back in the other direction. Reverts will respawn with the help of those forward spawns. They're aware of where Hollander is. You keep seeing these icicles and other things fire this way, but if you can't actually net that kill onto Hollander, then this pulse bomb could be massive. You're watching for it in this next fight. The bot's continuing to move forward though, and the team's moving with it. They're now going to be met on both sides here. An amplification matrix comes through. Everybody's trying to apply the healing. The pulse bomb ends up going wide, so no kills netted from that one. Meanwhile, everybody trying to get healed up, and Azure just goes a little bit too far into the clutches of Cloud Lemon on the Zarya, who's now taking out both DPS, making a third onto the support. And my goodness, that's a team kill.
Oh man, that is tough. You managed to avoid the pulse bomb of Hollander, but now you've got to deal with the other 4 ultimates coming online, essentially, because that Kitsune Rush is only 14% off. Phantoms do have their Annihilation and their Sound Barrier available to them, but you're going to have to burn their Sound Barrier.
Sound barrier burned, but it's too little too late for Salt, who's already removing them right now. Soda, the next one to fall here. Make it 3 for Reverts. You'd think that overclock's going off, but no. These are just raw rail guns going crazy. And that's going to be Solar-Eclipse moving forward.
Oh my goodness, and Revert says they got one more in them. Oh, no, maybe not, maybe not. The Icicle does come out from Azure. You've got the Blizzard and you have Annihilation online. Solar-Eclipse only burnt that Graviton Surge though, so they have everything else. And here comes the Annihilation.
The Annihilation met by the Sound Barrier. Beautiful from Vert to hold on to it, but it is going to be able to weather the storm. Vert actually kills Mystic on the other side. Now Revert's trying to be able to come up with something here from these railguns. Doesn't actually end up getting any kills. Ends up costing them their own life, but they do manage to get the follow-up damage that removes Soda from the fight, and the rest of Solar-Eclipse is there to clean it up and get the rest of these kills. Now Phantoms, who were close in this match, are feeling themselves an incredible deficit.
No, this is a tough spot to be at. Hollander just waiting for somebody to walk out this door, try and get this pulse bomb stick. Doesn't look like they're going to go for it just yet. Azure's Blizzard has to be massive here for the side of Phantoms.
Has to be massive is an understatement. Only 30 seconds left potentially in Phantom's mid-season run here. They've got to be able to come up with the goods. You're seeing now a contest right at the start of these forward spawns. It's going to be the Kitsune Rush, but Hollander finally is dispatched, and that Blizzard comes out like you said. It's going to be able to zone Cloud Lemon while not necessarily freezing anybody up. It does what it needs to. Azure, unfortunately, finding themselves caught out, and Reverts gets one on the Salt here. The trades are still favoring Phantoms, but missing your DPS line. They're going to have to run all the way back, and in overtime, it's going to be a little bit tricky.
Oh, this is going to be tough. You've got your amplification matrix though here. If you're Soda, you need to make sure you time this just right. You want to get yourself a lot of space off of this ultimate while you wait for your other ults to come online. Got to watch out for Hollander's pulse bomb here as well. They've been so good for them so far.
Trying to watch out, be careful, like you said. A little bit of a contest coming through on the bot. There has to be healing applied onto your Ramontra here while that bot continues to move forward thanks to the May. While Revert's trying to find something with that Sojourn rail. Does not end up connecting on anything just yet here, but that Overclock is still online, ready to go. It's going to be the Amp Matrix fired off first, though, on the other side. Now with the Deadeye, potentially shoot through. Nobody wants to peek that one. This Cassidy rather is walking forward, trying to find something. No kills netted off the back of that one just yet. And now while they're starting to gain meters, they now have to deal with the railgun. The pulse bomb is being connected, but actually Reverts decides to steal that kill. Now Salt missing as well. Leaves only 3 members alive. They do have a sound barrier on top of them right now, but it's too late because the grab is there. The cleanup comes through, and Solar-Eclipse dispatch Phantoms to move on in this bracket.
And I mean, yet completely dominant fashion from the side of Solar-Eclipse. And it looks like they're going to be ready and waiting for whoever it is that's going to come out of that Lunar Eclipse match on the other side of this bracket. I believe they play tomorrow as well. Let me double check on that. The Lunar Eclipse and Space Train match. Yes, those 2 teams will be playing tomorrow. So whoever wins that match is going to be who goes up against Solar-Eclipse now.
Yeah, I mean, then after that performance, I would be a little bit terrified to go up against Solar-Eclipse, but we'll have to see. Potentially, maybe Solar-Eclipse has some thoughts on their future opponents when we hear from them in just a moment. While we get that set up, though, we're going to throw ourselves to a quick break, so make sure you stick around because I promise some spicy words will be exchanged.
I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
All right, welcome on back. We promised an interview and we have delivered. We've got Njoki from the side of, I almost said Queen's Gambit again. Listen, you know what? You won, you're here. How you doing today? How's it feel?
I'm doing swag right now, bro. Okay, honestly, this position is irritating me. I can't do this, but I'm doing swag actually. Thank you.
You're doing swag? Okay. Well, listen, for my question to start this off, I'm going to start on map 2, where I think you died probably more than anybody else in the lobby. What was, despite your team winning, what was going on there?
Okay, the first one, okay, I'll be honest. So we had that map on lockdown in scrims, basically. Like, we had our other tank play out on that map, and it was like it was average, but like I don't know, there was something about the way that I was playing. It was just like the stars aligned there, and it just turned out really good. The thing is, I keep on forgetting that my Ana can't see me when I go like deep in the far right or in that general area. So I have like, it's like normally they're supposed to walk up to that stairs, like to take the high ground away from us. And I thought that they were gonna do that, but instead they just like twiddled their thumbs, like sitting main. So I got antsy, I jumped in, I died, and then that happened like twice. The third time I had primal, I was kind of chilling until I got rocked, and you know, it is what it is. Automatically, I would have been the only deaths on our team if it wasn't for for Homelander over there going in and just I think he died at the very end, like right as point capped. Like he forgot to worry about stats, but yeah. I felt kind of carried, I gotta be honest. But my team did very swag.
Well, all right. With that being said, what teams are you looking forward to playing against in this tournament? Obviously, with there being 4 undefeated teams, one of them has already gone down, but 3 undefeated teams still left in this bracket. Are there any in particular that you just really want to play against?
I got a gander actually. To be honest, I don't know the other team names. I'll be honest. I think, like, if I'm not mistaken, the other 3 teams are teams that hadn't lost a map. I think one team ended up losing a map, but everyone else is like basically undefeated, like the top 4 seeds. I don't know, like, I think one of the, like, I guess top 4 seeds ended up getting, well, not disqualified, but, like, knocked out. Is that right or no?
That is correct. Abyssal lost to Cuddle Puddle.
Yeah.
Cuddle Puddle, I believe they were called.
Cuddle Puddle, my goats. I ran into them in comp, actually. It was kind of swag. Bro, they said that we rolled them, and be that as it may, I still ended up, like losing to them in comp. They kind of locked in, so I'm not too surprised. But the other 2, I mean, I don't know them. I'm gonna be honest. I think they're in the like other half of the bracket, so I don't know if we played them, but
So you will either play Solar-Eclipse or I keep forgetting the name of the other team. They're Space Train. That's the 2 options that you will have to play against. And I mean, is there any sort of interest in playing against your sister team in Solar-Eclipse, who is the #1 seed in this mid-season tournament?
I don't know if they, what's the word? I like, I'll be honest, I don't know the teams, so I'm not too sure. I think I'd be down if Cuddle Puddle like makes it further in. Like, I don't know if Cuddle Puddle is still in there. Like, I'd be down to play them again. Lunar, I mean, I feel like, I think, bro, I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I'm just here to show up to the games, to be honest. I think if I had to say a team, wasn't there like Death Blossom? Like, isn't that a team?
Yes, they'll be playing Cuddle Puddle on the other side of the bracket.
Okay. Yeah. I think. Oh, so okay. So in semifinals, I'll be playing either one of those 2 teams that you mentioned. I think.
Yes.
I don't know, to be honest. I think I'll say for now my prediction will be Lunar, just for nepotism purposes, and then we'll say Cuddle Puddle sweeps us 3-0 in the finals. That's my prediction.
All right then. Well, Mega.
Listen, Cuddle Puddle sweeping in 3 hours in the map. That's a bold prediction. I like it. But I mean, yeah, just in terms of like the expectations, right? Obviously, most of this roster they come off of last year winning. They won the GOAT tournament for NA Low as well here. I mean, is there any level of success that is okay for this team besides winning the whole thing, or is it just like that is the end all be all? If we don't do that, we fail.
I mean, they're locked in. If it wasn't for me, like they're, like running it down and losing one map, like they were kind of shooting for like a undefeated thing. But obviously, like, you know, considering that they won, I think my team won the last one. I'm new here. But I mean, they're trying to win. Like they're in it to win it. They're fairly confident. I'm just here to vibe, to be honest. They have me playing Monkey. I'm kind of sad that there's Amalgamator right now. I've been learning that, but you know, I'm kind of just chilling. Everyone else, they're like locked in, like looking at the tape, like playing a bunch, but you know.
Hey, listen, that it's a good recipe for success. Well, go ahead, let's just go celebrate with the team then. Good little playoff victory here, and whenever that matchup comes up again for the semis and the grands, we're sure to be able to watch because it'll be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, you take care. So, with that being said, Shadow, I mean, yeah, that was just Solar-Eclipse dominating. They just kind of they showed why they're one of the best right now, and now they'll get a chance to prove it against some of these, you know, potentially undefeated teams as well.
No, absolutely. I'm looking forward to, like I said earlier, the later rounds in this bracket because there's a lot of teams in here that I think are really, really good, and I just want to see what they look like when they play against each other.
Like, I'm especially looking forward to the other side of the bracket. Like, Cuddle Puddle Death Blossoms, that should be an amazing match. And then whoever ends up in the finals, you know, between all the teams that are left here, that's going to be amazing as well, regardless. And it is just the midseason, right? We're not even halfway through the season. Like, this is just for an extra win on the season for these teams. We don't not even seeing them potentially go all out for the win at the end yet. So, got lots and lots more great games to cover here.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm really looking forward to that grand finals, though, especially in this tier, just to really see what these teams have to offer.
Yeah, but with that being said, it is incredibly late for NA time. Of course, I'd like to give a big shout out to all the people behind the scenes to make it possible. You had Rhino running the production, you had Orange, and who was our other observer? I forget. Oh, there was no other. Orange was just solo. Wow, powerful Orange observing. Of course, you had Shadow with me. I appreciate it all as always. And with all that being said, just tune in tomorrow for more mid-season madness. Thumbs up.